Hey everyone, thanks for joining Lunch Breaks with John. It's me, your host, John, and I just decided today I'm gonna give this little project a shot. I'm just on my lunch break from work. I started a new job this week. Was working at a at a big bank, and then recently got a better offer from a smaller bank from a manager I used to work with. She told me about this job. So anyway, I've been working here for 3 days now. Well, this is my 4th day. It's been going pretty good. Just been doing a lot of training and trying to keep my sanity with all the reading and the different stuff I'm going through. But yeah, it's just a lot of training modules and stuff to do like that. I haven't actually done any of my work yet, or I haven't started my actual job duties yet, besides them just showing me a couple different things here and there. But hopefully soon, well, probably starting at the end of next week, I'll be actually doing my job. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to give you that little introduction. There's been a lot of new stuff happening in my life in the last year or so. My wife and I bought our first house at the end of last year. Where I was working for the last 2 years, right around that time when I bought the house, I was working, like as I told you, a pretty big bank, national bank. The branch I was working at told me that they were going to be closing, or they told us that we were going to be closing that branch by the end of 2020. So, as you probably know, that was a big shocker for me. And now I was given the opportunity to stay with the bank, but I had to reapply. So I applied with a branch that was closer to my home. Thankfully, they had an opening, and worked there for the last 6 months, 7 months. But I don't know. It's ever since my first branch closed, and I lost the team I was working with and everything, which I loved those people, and I've worked with some good people since then too. But I just needed a change of pace, a change of scenery. I've been looking at some new jobs here and there, and then this came along. It seemed like just at the right time. So, I mean, I believe that was probably God's providence that happened that way. But I'm just thankful for it. And anyway, I'll try not to get into too much of this, talking just about the job, but I want to do this show kind of just a weekly thing, weekly video upload. Might make it a podcast as well, and where I just kind of talk about everyday life, talk about favorite TV shows, different things that's going on in the world. We're going to try to keep it casual and just, good stuff like that. All right, so I'm going to talk about a couple different things I've watched recently. My wife and I just recently started watching the Loki TV show that came out last week. Their first episode premiered last week, and let me tell you guys, it's a good show on Disney Plus. If you don't have Disney Plus, and if you've never seen any of the other shows on Disney Plus, especially the Marvel shows or the Mandalorian, Star Wars, go get Disney Plus. You will not regret it. I mean, even if you just do it for a couple months and enough time to binge all of those shows, I think you'll enjoy it. But yeah, we started watching, just last night we watched the second episode of Loki, that mini series, and it's really good. Which Loki is one of my favorite super villains when it comes to the Marvel universe. I'm a big Marvel fan, always have been. I think Spider-Man is what really got me into Marvel as a kid. I was never really a big comic book reader growing up, but I used to have Spider-Man action figures, and sometimes I would watch different superhero cartoons and things like that. So yeah, Spider-Man really got me into Marvel. Then especially, and then there's the Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire that that made me really like Spider-Man. And then after, I guess it was Iron Man 1 that started the MCU movies. Now those just brought the Marvel universe to a whole nother level, and I mean, it's just amazing how much detail is put into those movies. I mean, you have stuff from the very first movie that they'll tie in that you may have not even thought it had much significance at the beginning when they had those first few movies, but it really ties in to the whole picture at the end. And it seems like it keeps going that way with new movies and new TV shows they come out with. Yeah, so watch the Loki show, watch The Mandalorian, Falcon and Winter Soldier, that's a really good show. WandaVision, that's good. There's all those shows, it seems like they have each one has kind of a different perspective, but I think the goal of them is to lead up to probably the next phase in the MCU movies after Endgame. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It looks like the Loki series is possibly going to be connecting us into the, what's it called? The Multiverse of Madness. Yes, that's what it is. So it's going to be kind of Doctor Strange, and I've heard a lot of interesting things about what's coming up with that. So I'm excited, guys, to see how this all plays out, and try to do an update on these videos every now and then about those shows and different other things that I'm watching or have seen recently. Anyway, another thing, there's a movie I definitely recommend you do not watch, especially if you're the type of person that things make you, well, let's just say, if scary movies can affect your mind easily, which I think I've been kind of desensitized to a lot of scary movies. My wife's a big scary movie fan. We watch all kinds of different scary movies. I didn't really watch a whole lot of scary movies before I met her, but she got me into watching a lot of them. And so yeah, watching movies like The Conjuring and stuff like that, the Conjuring series, those don't really, I mean, I guess I think it's just I can kind of acknowledge stuff that's real and stuff that's fiction and things like I can separate that in my mind, so it doesn't bother me as much. But there was this movie recently that my wife and I watched, and I just felt very uncomfortable, kind of uneasy. I don't know, just something didn't set right in my spirit when we got done watching that movie. And it was called Hereditary, which I'm sure if you're a scary movie fan at all, you've probably heard of it. It's been out for, I guess, 3 years now. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting movie. They definitely put their work into making it very disturbing. But yeah, the biggest thing about that movie is there's just so much in there that's, I don't know, it's just very disturbing and dark, and I don't know. Maybe you can watch that movie and not be affected by it, but if I could go back, I probably wouldn't watch that movie again. But anyway, well, there's not a whole lot else that I can think of that I should cover in this episode. I'm going to try to keep these about 15 to 20 minutes a piece, probably. I want to try to release one episode maybe every Friday. Maybe if this takes off. If I get a lot of subscribers and things like that, maybe we'll possibly look at doing one of these twice a week or 3 times a week. Who knows? But for now, we're going to try to keep these about once a week, every Friday or something like that. We'll work with a schedule that works with my work schedule, and as long as I'm able to plan these out accordingly. I will say this. I was talking earlier. I kind of got off on a rabbit trail, but yeah, a lot of new changes that have happened in my life. We talked about new house we bought. We talked about transitions in my job, and then getting this new job I started at. And then another thing is since we've moved, we kind of moved further away from the church that we were going to. We've been visiting several churches. I can't tell you how many, probably 10 at least, a dozen maybe, over the past, or at least the first 5 or 6 months of this year. But starting around May, we started consistently going to a new church. Love the pastor and his wife. Love the Sunday school class we're in. And we just love the preaching, and the atmosphere of the church is very. It's been a breath of fresh air, to be honest, compared to kind of the background that my wife and I came from, our church background that we came from. Going from a slightly more legalistic background to a semi-contemporary church. It was different at first, I will say that. It's different to get used to a new style of worship and some different things like that, but overall we really enjoy it, and we feel like we're being fed spiritually. We're growing, and yeah, God's been good. So anyway, this episode's probably going to be a little shorter than the ones in the future, just because I don't really have a script for this. I haven't really planned out everything I'm going to talk about on here. I already ate my lunch, so you're not going to be watching me eat this time, but I mean, you can see my drink I have here. It's not a sponsor if this goes on YouTube or anything, but it's a good drink. Monster Ultra Gold. It's a 0 sugar energy drink. Tastes kind of like pineapple. I'll just read this about the drink. It says, according to ancient Greek legend, the nectar of Ambrosia gave immortality to all who drank it. Unfortunately, this fruit of the gods is just a myth, but we were inspired to create Ultra Gold as close as we can to for mere mortals. With zero sugar, easy drinking Ultra Gold has the heavenly fresh flavor of biting into perfectly ripened golden pineapple. I knew it was pineapple. While we can't promise immortality, our Monster Energy blend will help you stay focused and alert, ready for whatever life throws at you. Go for the gold. So it's just a little tidbit. If you like energy drinks and maybe you're a little more conscious of your sugar intake, which I've been trying to limit my sugar intake recently, it's a good drink. I definitely recommend it. Probably for the flavor alone, I give it 8.5 out of 10. So pretty good. Anyway, we'll sign off. Thanks for watching if you made it this far, and have a good rest of your